Hi, you are welcome to this episode of Knowledge to Naira YouTube series. This is week 2. The first week, what we covered was how to identify your intelligence center. Now, under the captainship of Dr. Mujitaba Umar, the current president of Association of Resident Doctors, Usman Danfodio University Teaching Hospital, we deemed it fit to start this Knowledge to Naira YouTube series after having the webinar series, which spanned from 17th of January 2026 up until the 7th of February. Now, we wanted residents, medical doctors, medical officers, consultants alike to have an identity, to have additional extra income, if you like, outside of the four walls of the hospital. And besides that, besides the income, it could just be building a brand, a personal brand, a business brand, and also generally leveraging on the digital space and the outside the medical world. I beg your pardon. Now, why is it important? It's important because we're in the global village. There's a digital world. There's digital health. This is the era of artificial intelligence, and you cannot be found wanting. You do not want to turn into a dinosaur. So, after having said that, in case you are watching this video and you haven't gone to the first video, the week 1, that is how to identify your intelligence centers, there's going to be some sort of struggle. So I suggest you go to the week 1 video, how to identify your intelligence center, because in becoming a digital creator, in becoming knowing how to leverage on the digital space to earn extra income as a medical doctor, resident doctor, consultant, whichever sphere you are, either in the clinical aspect, laboratory, doesn't matter. The important thing is knowing how to leverage on the digital space, and you have to start with identify your intelligence center, because when you identify your intelligence center, you can turn that intelligence center into a product, right? So what are we going to cover today? Today we are going to cover identifying your target audience, right? So what's that about? You have to understand who you want to sell your product to. You have to understand who you want to sell your intelligence to, right? Because from the first video, I'm going to be referring to the first video quite a lot. So like I said before, if you haven't watched it, kindly go back and watch it before coming back to this video. So you have to identify your intelligence center. It's important because intelligence is knowledge in motion, right? After you have identified your intelligence center, then you have to identify who you want to sell your knowledge to, right? I had said that intelligence is knowledge in motion in the previous video, so you have to see it from that perspective. So after having identified your intelligence center and you are well grounded, the next point of action is identify your intelligence center. So it's important to understand who they are. I also have to know why it matters. So let's go ahead. What I'm going to cover in this video for week 2, I'm going to help you define your target audience, help you identify the characteristics of your audience, how to conduct an audience research, create a customer persona or an avatar, if you like, is interchangeable. And then you have to now use the audience insights in communication, because if you do not properly communicate with your audience, then there's going to be a communication gap and you won't be able to sell to them. It's important to sell to them, whatever it is that you have to sell to them. So what is the target audience? It's just a specific group of people most likely to benefit from your products, your service. It could be digital service. It could be that you know how to use Canva effortlessly to create ebooks, to come up with a magazine, a digital product. It could be presentations, it could be flyers, it could be anything. Or it could be that you are good in teaching anatomy and you want to create the right platform in teaching undergraduate medical students, 200 level, 300 level. It could be that you are so good with preventive medicine and you want to be a health educator, and then you have focus on diabetes or hypertension. It could be that you are so good with organizations, you know how to, it could even be public speaking. You are good in public speaking and you want to teach people how to come out of their shell and know how to speak in public. That is a real concern, right? So, but first you have to know who the target audience is, right? So your target audience is just a specific group of people who are most likely to benefit from your intelligence center, right? So why does it matter? Why can't you just go out there in the digital space and just start putting out your content, putting out your product out there? Now, it's very important I mention this. Even if your product is free, you have to know the people that will benefit from it. You have to know those that will benefit from it, so you know how to market it appropriately to them, so you know how to sell it to them. Okay, so if their target markets in category A, that who wouldn't understand the particular language if you speak to target audience category B. Okay, so first it improves communication, it improves how you communicate. Now I run an online business platform, an academy, Blue Cougar Academy, right? And I got reached out by a private company that I should train a group of persons from a community. Then I was based in Benin then. So when they called, I had to do some homework. I had to find out who these people are so I know how to communicate with them, because it's part of what you do. So I got to find out that they are not, most of them didn't even go to school. Those with the highest education qualification have primary school leaving certificate. So I had to really break down how I'll communicate to them. I had to speak pidgin English. I couldn't speak the regular English, right, with the grammar and all that. I had to really break it down to them when I was teaching them how to make soap, lotions, and their likes. So it's important. It improves communication. I can't speak to people who have not gone to school like I'm speaking with intellectuals. It wouldn't work. Okay, it increases engagement. On the online space, it increases engagement. I want to increase engagement. People who look for your content, the similar persons who are engaging with your content, it gets seen by more people. Okay, so it saves time and resources. You cannot afford to do guesswork. Okay, if this works, this should work. If this shouldn't work, this should work. No, it's what it does. It saves you time. You know where to go to, and you know who to communicate with, so you do not waste time. And it supports better decisions when you want to market, when you want to put your work out there. It gives you perspective as to decisions that you want to make. And then the part that we love the most, it converts them to loyal buying customers. Okay, so what are the characteristics of your audience? You have to know your audience. What questions do you need to ask to clarify, to give you a clearer picture of who your audience are? The people that you want to serve, people who are going to benefit from your product, okay, from your product, from your message, as the case may be. So number one, who are they? Are they doctors? Are they students? Are they medical students? Are they businessmen, women? Are they farmers? Are they villagers? You know, who are they? Are they market women? So what is their age range? Is very important. The way you would want to address a teenager, for instance, isn't the same way you want to address a middle-aged man. The challenges that they go through would probably not be the same, would most likely not be the same. So the language with which you speak to these categories of people will be different. Okay, so what pain points or needs do they have that my product can help relieve? Okay, for me, I have digital products. I've authored a book, Soap Making Secrets. I've sold, I was able to sell about 50 copies when I first launched it out, and then I had to really do so many homework. And when I sold the first copy, and I found out that most people wanted, the mistake I made first was most people wanted different techniques to soap making, and they wanted more details, right? So that was the feedback. Okay, so it's important you know that. So what I now did was I had to re-strategize, right? I had to now, those who gave me good feedbacks, I had to use it to market. So what the book majorly contained was how to formulate soap, not how to make soap. How to make soap was there, but it wasn't as detailed. Okay, so I now had to really focus on soap formulation in my marketing message than the soap making in itself. I had to see it from that point of view because people were making mistakes. Okay, so where are they clustered in online? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Twitter? Are they on TikTok? Are they on Instagram? It's very important. So you go there, you mount your online space there, and you communicate with them. Where can I find them? Where can I find them? I'm talking online. I'm talking offline now. In the markets, will you find them in the markets? Will you find them in schools? Will you find them in institutions? Will you find them in conferences? Okay, so you have to position yourself there so you can properly communicate with them. So what are the key characteristics? Age, gender, down to their values and behaviors, because without knowing this, you won't know how to communicate with them. So now, how do you pen out identifying your target audience? First, you have to define your goal, right? What is my goal with the product that I have? What goals do I want to achieve? So it shouldn't just be your intelligence center. It shouldn't just be how you want to convert your intelligence center to a product. You have to have something at the back end, right? One of the participants of Knowledge to Naira is very good with SPSS, is very good with data analysis. So what he did was he had to make his goal to make people to increase people's interest in research, because he found out that there was a lacuna. So he wanted to increase people's interest. I wanted to see positioning resident doctors to be problem solvers from that aspect. So you conduct research. You also have to segment the audience, and you have to test and refine. You test it, see what works, what isn't working, you put it aside, what works, you replicate what works. Okay, so how do you conduct research? There are tools you can use. Google Trends, you do surveys, you ask questions. This Answer the Public is also another tool. Just type Answer the Public on Google, and then you find questions people have asked and how it has answered around the topic, around your intelligence center. Okay, another way to do it is Google Form. Market reports helps. Interviewing audiences and asking questions about how they like, and you have to make sure that it matches with your goal. Okay, so another very important thing is creating customer avatar. Okay, this is an example. Aliyu, 34-year-old surgical resident, has challenges with dissertation, and his preferred channel is WhatsApp. Okay, so this is an example of someone whose intelligence center is research and publications. Okay, so what are the common mistakes? I had mentioned some already. Assuming everyone is your audience. This is one of the biggest mistakes digital creators make. Okay, everybody cannot be your audience. You have to define who they are, and even in that audience, you have to segment so that you can own that market, penetrate that market, and thrive. Okay, ignoring feedback. I had to go back. I had used my book Soap Making Secrets as an example. Once you have put your work out there, either free content or not, you have to ask for feedbacks. Okay, and then you can't just rely on stereotypes. It's most likely dead on arrival. That's what happens. Then failing to update audience profile is another thing. Customers' choices keep changing, so you have to update, you have to refine, you have to keep asking questions. All right, so in summary, you have to know your audience, understand their needs, and understanding their needs goes out to doing your research, Google Trends, find out what it is that people are asking so that you know how you can match and meet up with their needs and or their pain points. Choose the right message and channeling, and you continuously refine your approach so that you know how to go about it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week. Thank you.